Hey guys, Kelade here. Welcome to my kill/commentary video on Mythic Desolate Host. For this fight, you're going to charge in right away. I actually charge a soul residue so it doesn't move as much. And I just pop all your cooldowns, including all your AoE. I do start with a whirlwind first. That way my first rampage from Battlecry is cleaving on as many targets as I can. And I try to chase down all the soul residues that I can. Because you do want your War Machine to proc as much as possible. You guys also notice I did have aggro on the Mistress, that circle on the left side of the screen. The way that we're doing is we're having our Resto Druid Bassus, he's taunting outside, but since I had aggro of the ad, just make sure that if it's not kicked, that you kick it and you drag it out to range, because that Fallen Priestess actually does not die until we pretty much finish the fight, or until we, phase the fight to where Desolate Host actually comes out. So you want to keep that guy alive, and you want to AoE them as little as possible. So if nobody's actively AoEing it, it's okay, if your Odin's Fury hits it when you're AoEing other stuff, but you want to try to avoid hitting it as much as possible. So then when these Bolt Wardens come out, I'm pretty much never going to use Furious Slash if there's at least an ad here. And of course, with these ads, you also want to pay attention to the buffs that they get. If they get that bone armor buff, you want to make sure that, if you have your Odin Sphere and Battlecry ready, you save it a little bit so that way the bone armor gets broken. And the bone armor, of course, gets broken when the priestess channels on a person. That channel reaches 5 stacks, you do like a little AoE, and it will remove the bone from the ads, the bone armor from the ads. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to kind of just the appearance, because when they have the armor, there will be like floaty little bone things around them. You want to make sure that if you have burst AoE, you want to make sure you wait until the armor is done. Also, in regards to burst AoE, whenever the boss does Wailing Souls, now of course everything here is going to be talking about bottom floor. Right? If you guys saw right there, I went to kind of where that blue marker is, because that's where the tank is taking the ads from upstairs, and you also need to break the armor of those guys too. So right after those every time she does the Wailing Cry or whatever, or Wailing Souls, she's always gonna summon ads right afterwards. So if you have your AoE cooldowns ready, right, and you see that she's almost done with Wailing Souls, you definitely want to hold on to them so you can burst these ads as soon as possible. Especially the Soul Residues, you guys can see I'm chasing one down, because they do target one person and they kind of chase them around, and you want to kill them as the highest priority whenever the ads are spawning. Right, you guys can see right now, if you guys pay attention really carefully, the add-on moon, they did have moon armor at one point. It's like a little blue graphic, but now it's gone, of course, because somebody broke it. Generally, I think the armor happens around 50% of their HP, so you just want to be aware and careful of that. So, haven't gone over the talents yet. Right above my head, of course, those are the talents I'm taking for this fight. You're actually taking single target talents because a lot of the AoE is burst AoE, right? Just have avatar cover the AoE, that's totally fine. And you're only taking War Machine because there's so many ads that just die that you can proc War Machine. I think we get around 3 different ad spawns, and you guys will also see not only do we have 3 set of ad spawns, but that orange priestess over there on the left, I'm actually going to be able to get a proc War Machine off of him later on too, kind of during like execute phase. So technically, there's like 4 periods of time where you can proc War Machine in a fight, and sometimes it's more because the little ads die a little bit faster than the I guess, small ads are running around. So once again, you can see Wailing Souls is being cast, right? I'm kind of keeping track of how long it is. Generally, if Wailing Souls is halfway, if I had like 5 more seconds or 10 more seconds before Wailing Souls would kind of pass halfway, I would have used Battlecry. But just to be safe, once it goes past that halfway mark for Wailing Souls, I do save all my cooldowns, including Battlecry, just so I can burst ads as soon as possible when they come out. Because you really want to kill those little ads as soon as possible. And Odin's Fury does a big number on them, right? When you have Odin's Fury and Battlecry. You can see as she's getting down the cast, right? Get ready for AoE. Whirlwind first, proc that Meat Cleaver, pop Moonglaves as you're whirlwinding, and then Battlecry Rampage and Odin's Fury, and then whirlwind to your heart's content as you. Now, those soul residues can be stunned, so if you get anybody in your group, like what our Shadow Priest did, you guys definitely should stun them. Makes it much easier to deal with, and that's why in the beginning of the pool, I charge one. That way, they're not running around. You want them as grouped as possible. Of course, if you guys somehow have, a DK that can grip, even better. Anything that can put them all in one place, great. In regards to what target you want to be on, you generally want to actually stay on the Soul Queen target. Because you want to push her as fast as. There's actually like certain parts in the fight where you want to push her. Generally, it's to avoid like another set of ad spawns or another mechanic that's coming out. So your main target generally is going to be Soul Queen. But if you're in melee or if you're range, anybody that has an interrupt, you could target one of the priestesses that's not the one that you bring out, and just make sure that you kick him. It just prevents unnecessary damage from your raid, because the shattering kind of has to do definitely does do some damage. Now, if you get soulbind here for our raid, we just go closer to where that purple marker you guys saw. And for the soulbind, the way it works is two people get picked. You guys just have to touch each other, and once you guys touch, the debuff is gone. If you guys haven't touched each other, every time, like every second or two that you guys aren't touching, it'll do raid wide AoE damage. So you just want to get to your pre-assigned destination as soon as possible. Right. So now we phase the boss, right? Getting either the Soul Queen and the guy upstairs injuring souls 30%. You'll get Desolate Host to come out. Luckily for me, I had all my AoE up, so I can actually AoE all 3 targets. My Odin Sphere did hit the Fallen Priestess. You can see there. I'm also keeping track of the HP that Fallen Priestess. I don't want to kill it too fast because I know other members are already using resources. But when it gets close, right, 1 million HP, I go and I make sure I tag it just so I can proc War Machine, right? You don't need to kill it, mandatory to kill it, but if it's gonna die in the next GCD anyways, you might as well go over there and proc War Machine. And luckily for me, it perfectly died kind of during a transition phase, right, where the Desolate Host was doing his cast where I couldn't be in melee of him. So that was really good timing on that end. And then for this guy, you just want to keep executing him as much as you can. Oh, I forgot to mention, the legendary that I use on this fight is the legendary helmet and the legendary belt. So that is what I'm rocking. You could not use the legendary belt if you don't want, right? If you guys have so much burst AoE, it's fine. So right here, I have Soulbind. I'm going to the purple marker because that's where we assigned it. And then they tell me on Discord that the person that I'm connected to was disconnected. So unfortunately, I had to run all the way into that group to break it. Unfortunately, that did cause me to drop Juggernaut stacks, which isn't great. This actually is our second fight that we've killed this guy. The first time we killed him, I was actually able to keep all my Juggernaut stacks and go on the Desolate Host and still keep them. So that was right there, right? I dropped it again, unfortunately. We just didn't have enough DPS pushing this guy because we do have 5, now 6 guys that are dead on this fight. So that is unfortunate. But hopefully that doesn't happen where the soul bind for you guys is on the other side of the group, disconnected, so you guys can actually keep up your Juggernaut stacks, because your damage is definitely noticeable here. Since there kind of an extended execute duration, right? Because you really are able to execute the first target, and then generally at the speed that we're currently doing it, we're actually able to get Desolate Host pretty close to where I actually can, switch over executes and keep up the Juggernaut stacks. But regardless, we get the boss here. It's 3% HP. I have Battlecry Avatar ready. Pop some executes in him with Battlecry and Enraged, of course, and he goes down pretty easily. That's pretty much it. It's pretty telegraphed when mechanics are going to happen, right? When she stops casting the Willing Souls, as they're going to come out, make sure you burst AoE it. Of course, if you guys are curious about the mechanics upstairs, unfortunately, I'm not too familiar with that. I'm actually always downstairs, so if you guys can, try to be downstairs. There's more AoE for you guys to burst anyways. But yeah, that's it for this video. Feel free to subscribe to see more content. See ya!